I don't
Tripping me up.
like that. Yeah, recording. The recording button disappeared, but I know where it is now.
Okay, so session 95, Tool Time Tuesday. We're going to talk about AI tools for work. Now, this is kind of a hot topic, but also a little controversial because there's pluses and minuses of AI tools. We're going to talk about some of the sort of best practices as well for them. And this is by no means comprehensive. We just want people to start thinking about them and assessing them and things like that. So I'm Larissa. Leslie's my co-host. We're from the library. You can find us on Insight if you type in library. Please email us, contact us, ask us questions. There's some upcoming classes. We have a Puppet Basics class coming up, and we have an EndNote Help, a troubleshooting class coming up, and those are on the institutional calendar and the library calendar as well. People keep talking about coffee and donuts. Oh, okay. It is almost Employee Appreciation Month, and Adam Siegman reminded us yesterday in a meeting that there's going to be a lot of great events, but one of them are if you're on site, there's going to be complimentary chair massages, and they're going to be in a lot of different locations. So check the Employee Appreciation Month website, but also check the inside calendar because you can sign up for a massage if you're on site. And I'm sure that that would be kind of nice. And let's jump into AI tools for work. So to start, we want to mention responsible use of AI. We want to make sure that we follow our institutional and publisher guidelines. And I promise I will share more institutional guidelines as they come out, but there are some on Inside. We want to make sure that we don't upload any personal identifiable information or patient health information to AI tools. Just keep in mind anything you paste or type into AI, it's being retained by that tool because it's a tool that learns based on the content you put into it. So just be aware when what you're typing into an AI tool, and we'll talk about some like easy ways to use it without endangering any personal information. Remember that AI tools can't replace humans. We still have to use critical thinking when reviewing the content and using the materials from these tools. And they're not really regulated yet. So we want to make sure to look for indicators that AI is being used. I have no doubt that if you're on social media, you've seen AI images, AI text. Some of it you've caught and some of it maybe you haven't. And it can be a little spooky. So just slow down, and just like with phishing campaigns, slow down and look for indicators. These tools are being reviewed by the institution, just AI tools in general. So use them with caution in your professional work life. Don't decide you're going to put all your whole life in them yet. We're just having fun with them right now, getting started. So you may have noticed some things happening as you're searching the internets, the World Wide Webs. AI is everywhere. It's been around a long, long time, but this generative AI concept or models are being pushed out everywhere. Every company's trying it. So I've noticed that if you're on Amazon, the customer reviews now have AI customer review summaries. So the generative AI tries to pull out a summary of all the Amazon reviews on that product. And they do put a tiny little text, AI generated from the text of customer reviews. So instead of you having to flip through all the summaries, it's supposed to give you that one big summary. So some of you may have noticed that. There are now Google search summaries that are AI. So in the Chrome browser, on my phone, I first noticed this. When you type in something, it tries to do an AI overview at the top. It tries to pull, I'm guessing, from the top results and give you a little summary. So just be aware that that's happening. That shouldn't blow your mind because you've seen summaries before, but they're not written by a person. They are, pulled together by these generative AI tools. Some of the basic tasks you can do with generative AI, because there's different types of AI, and we're not going to talk about all the types, but some of the broad tasks you can complete are you can write text. There are some audio generative AI tasks and some image video tasks as well. For text, you can just rewrite brief paragraphs for emails, maybe for a performance review, for your own, for marketing materials. When I'm preparing a presentation, sometimes I'll look things up just to see how to word a product. You can also find use Excel formulas. These are not available yet in our Excel products, but there are AI Excel formula tools now. You can look up math and coding topics, outlines. You can get outlines on topics, summarize articles and text. There's a lot you can do that is text-based with generative AI. There are also voiceover tools that are AI. This is cool and creepy at the same time. You may have heard of, they can take they could take your voice, other people's voices, and create a voiceover. There are transcription tools, which you'll see more frequently. And of course, there's image and video tools for creating images for presentations and other graphic design tasks. And we're going to actually talk about the tools, I promise. But this is kind of in general some of the things you can do. The one we've talked about before that you can use now is Copilot. Copilot, a piece of Copilot, is in Microsoft Edge. So if you use the Microsoft Edge browser, there's a tiny little blue icon in the upper right-hand corner. When you click on it, it pops out a chat window. So if you just want to play around and get started, you can ask Copilot about writing short text, coding. It can translate some documents, though not perfectly. So if you have a document open in the browser in Japanese, it can try to translate it for you. It can do a little bit of math. I actually think it can do math fairly well, but I haven't tried a lot of the math things. And it can summarize web documents, PDF files, videos, images. So one of the things I've learned in the last couple months is that if you open up a PDF, you can ask Copilot, can you summarize the article in my browser that's open in my browser? You can also highlight a piece of text and ask it to summarize the highlighted text. So this could be for someone, if you're just learning a topic or concept, it can give you a little bit more context. It also offers you some nice prompts to help you ask additional questions. So if you're not sure what to ask it, you can use the prompts in these little bubbles below, and it'll help you follow up with additional questions. These are not perfect tools. The summaries are limited. You should still review your sources and text for accuracy, but I've used these when I'm preparing presentations to kind of get some ideas. Or, if you open up a whole PDF and you don't have time to read all 20 pages, you could ask for, what is the summary of this document? You can also scroll to the methods and conclusions, but it's just a different way to look at it. So Copilot and Edge you could use today if you want. It could definitely do math better than me. To be fair, probably most people in this room could do math better than me. Another AI tool that you have access to that's been around for a little bit is the PowerPoint Presenter Coach. So this is an audio tool. You can only use it in the online version of PowerPoint, so you have to go to office.com. But essentially, you can go into the Presenter Coach, you can practice your presentation, and it will give you feedback on things like slowing down, using filler words, pacing. It gives you tips to improve your presentation skills. At the end of your presentation, it tells you how long it was and gives you a score and some ideas on how to improve. So then you could present again, try it again, and get a different score. It's not a game, you don't have to win, but it's just a way to practice if you don't have a person right there to practice with. This, of course, is not the same as human feedback. It might have some trouble understanding some accents or speech patterns, but I've noticed that these audio tools are getting better and better. And it's only available online and not in the desktop version. Okay, so someone asked, can it summarize scientific papers? And yes, it can summarize scientific papers. If you use Copilot, and there are other tools that do this as well, and I can share those with you if you're interested, but you can just open the article in your browser and then ask Copilot, can you summarize this article in my browser? Again, it's not perfect. It's kind of cursory summary. It's not going to go in depth and give you all the things, but it does give you a summary. There's also PowerPoint Designer. So PowerPoint Designer, you've probably seen, it's just the designer icon. In PowerPoint, it helps you design slides quickly. So it offers you variations on the same slide. So here's just a screenshot of a slide, and it gives me some other ways I could lay it out, maybe to make it more clear, or just to mix it up a little bit. This is not a perfect tool. Sometimes the designs are a little off, like they don't look great. So you obviously have to use your best judgment. And sometimes it just has no suggestions at all. So but it still can be really helpful if you're stuck on a presentation and you want a different layout, and it gives you some options. So someone asked, does MD Anderson have a policy on the use of AI? They do have guidelines on use, and I can share those with you for sure. I have a handout that I need to share with you guys. And I'll definitely, on the follow-up email, I'll share it as well. Okay, so we can do presenter coach in PowerPoint. We can do designer. There's also, you may have noticed, an Adobe AI assistant now. So this may be better than Copilot, though I haven't run it through its full paces. This is new. It's only available in your browser. It is not available on the Adobe desktop version. So if you open a PDF in your browser, the AI assistant is this pretty little pink and purple orangey button up here. When you click on it, it opens up a chat window. So very similar to Copilot and Edge, you can ask it questions about the document that's open. Ask it to summarize, ask it a specific question. It gives you some prompts, which is nice. So you can click through a prompt if you're not sure how to ask the question or not comfortable with it. So this is another way to summarize a PDF within a browser with that AI assistant. Eventually, this is supposed to be in the Adobe on the desktop as well, but I think it is not enabled yet, but you can use it in the browser. So a lot of these tools are doing this summarizer kind of feature, scanning the text and trying to give you the most important points. So this is not in Acrobat yet. It's only on the web. So when you open that link in your browser, you should see the AI assistant in theory. I know we're all on different versions and different things, but another tool that I've been playing around with that I wanted to share because it's kind of fun is Claude. Claude is similar to ChatGPT, but it runs on a different framework. The framework is Anthropic. So this chatbot, you have to log in with your personal email address to use it. So I used my Gmail. What I like about Claude is that it's kind of a little more professional. The tone is more professional. This is a chatbot, so you can ask it questions. It's designed to be more truthful and ethical. Obviously, we still need to use our own judgment, but I like that Claude gives you a lot of statements like, you should be sure to verify this information. Sometimes we make mistakes. It gives you those reminders. Claude can be used for rewording short text, for brainstorming ideas. It can transcribe written notes. It's just a basic chat tool, so you can ask it lots of different questions. It also gives you lovely little prompts here. So you can upload a picture of a recipe, and it's of a dish, like a food dish, and it's supposed to try to generate a recipe from that dish. These tools I've been using the free ones. I've been told if you use the pay for versions, they're way better. They work way better, but I've not done that. And we're not supposed to do that on MD Anderson computers. So if you do purchase something or want to play with something, do it on your personal computer or pay for it yourself, unfortunately, until things are settled on that. You might try Claude for fun.
The Acrobat one?
Yes.
Is that, it's only online, you said, right? So it's only in the browser?
Only online.
So you'd have to open it with the extension?
I didn't have to use the extension, but I do have the extension.
Okay.
I could show it to you.
So you should be able to just open a PDF in your browser and then it will work?
Yes.
Okay. Because we had a question about that.
Okay. And so someone said they want a Copilot to be turned off. There is a way to turn it off, and someone very kindly put the information there. Yeah, that's one of the things about Copilot that I did like is you can ask it where are the settings for X, Y, and Z in the browser, and it'll tell you. You can Google that too, but sometimes it's not the first result. So it is a helpful thing. Okay, and we're going to talk a little bit about images in a second. Okay, so for Claude, it's just a fun tool. What it doesn't have is it doesn't access external documents or websites. It doesn't include as many languages as ChatGPT. There is a free version, but there's also a premium version. So these all have limitations, but I like to use them kind of when I'm preparing for a presentation to just ask some basic questions of it. And I like the tone of it. It feels more academic, maybe, just a little less spicy. I don't know what the word I'm looking for. Sorry, my words are not great today. I need a chatbot to help me with my words. There's also Scopus AI. There's lots of literature search tools, and we're going to do some more classes on literature search tools coming up in the summer, hopefully. But Scopus AI is one you can play with now. So if you search the literature, like you use PubMed regularly, you might try the Scopus database. They have a chatbot called Scopus AI. I don't know if it's called a chatbot, a search tool called Scopus AI. What's nice about Scopus AI is that it's searching the Scopus database. It's not going to hallucinate citations. So we've, of course, heard that in tools like ChatGPT, sometimes it makes up references. The Scopus AI tool is actually pulling from references in Scopus. It's a way that you can ask questions of the literature, explore topics, maybe find some gaps in the literature, get an overview of a drug or a disease. If you're not a researcher or clinicians, you could try Scopus AI to ask something like, is magnesium a good supplement for the elderly? Or what does magnesium do for elderly patients? You can ask questions like that, and it gives you a pretty easy to read summary here and links you to the references. So Scopus AI is still in beta testing. It's going to eventually be a charge tool. They're going to make us pay for it. It doesn't replace a full literature search, and it doesn't search all the biomedical literature. There are other literature search tools out there if you're interested in, and I could share those. I could share those with you. I definitely need coffee, Janice. Thank you. I will definitely get some next.
Larissa, with Claude, we can use it on our work computers, right? We just have to follow the guidelines.
Yes, you can use it on your work computer. You can log in using your Gmail or your personal account, personal email account. Just don't put anything in there that's not appropriate, which of course is private information. So using it, it's kind of like using Copilot. You're just asking some general things, general concepts, general questions, or how do I reword this text? Things like that. Remember, anything you paste into AI, it's most likely being stored by the AI tool. So if you don't want it shared with the internet, then don't paste it in there. The other cool tool that I like that you could try for free if you're interested is Speechify. Speechify reads web pages for you and other documents. You can download the Chrome extension if you're interested. It adds this cute little player over here on the right. When I click play, it will read the web page for me. I could also just highlight text and it'll read that section. What's nice about this is the voice is natural. It doesn't sound like a robot. I don't know if any of you have tried the speech readers before. A lot of times they sound really awkward. This sounds like a human being. If you get the pay for version, you can change the voices on it. They even have, if you're interested, you can have your web pages read by Snoop Dogg or by Gwyneth Paltrow. And they have agreed to do that. It's not stolen. They use their voices, and you can do that if you're interested. I just used the regular old voice. It was fine with me, but you can change the gender of the speaker and the accent, things like that. You can the con to this is, I don't know about Martha Stewart, but that would be a good one with Snoop Dogg, and you switch back and forth. You can upload PDFs to this tool. Be cautious. Don't upload private or restricted materials because you don't know where they're going. But you can just have it read your browser. It also tells you how long it takes to read it, which is nice. So yeah, wouldn't it be funny to have Snoop Dogg read all your emails? James Earl Jones. Oh, that would be soothing. Beyonce. Wow. Morgan Freeman would be great too.
So we have a question about Scopus AI.
Yes.
Is Scopus AI still in the process of rolling out? I just signed on and I'm not seeing where to access.
So if you go to the databases page on the library's website, it's listed under Scopus AI. It's not always there for everyone, so you have to have the direct link, again, just because it's in the beta version. And I can share that as well.
Hi,
Okay, another
Larissa.
question.
Yeah,
This
Oh,
is
actually from Norma. Go ahead, Norma.
go ahead, Norma.
so whenever you type in meeting minutes, which AI would help you? Sometimes you're trying to kind of put some sentences together. Which one would you think it would be helpful?
That's a good question. So I'm going to tell you in a minute that at some point we're not going to be typing meeting notes anymore because the AI is going to do a transcription for us.
Wonderful.
We don't have that enabled yet here at the institution, but there are tools you can use. If you use Microsoft Online, they have the general editor tool where it will help with grammar and spelling. And they're going to include Copilot into that eventually, where it will correct things for you. But I don't have a good recommendation right now for that because they haven't enabled much at here yet.
Okay, thank you.
We have a really good question. What about Chat GPT? Does the institution prefer if we use our MBA email address or personal email for the login when we use it for our work?
I would use your personal email address. We're not supposed to use Chat GPT we can use it to explore, but I would use your personal email address. They're supposed to be coming out with guidelines soon, and I will definitely share that with you. Okay. Okay, so, hard questions, y'all. Hard questions. Okay.
So keep going and we'll come back for the questions.
And then we'll come back. We'll come back. I got stuck. Okay, so Speechify is fun, but also it's great if as an assistive tool or you're tired of reading the screen, the voice is very natural and nice. So what's coming up in AI? There is something called the Zoom AI Assistant. If you've gone to other Zoom meetings outside the institution, you may have seen this. We do not have this enabled yet. Zoom AI Assistant will transcribe your entire meeting. It will generate meeting summaries and action items, and it will automatically, you can set it to send to the attendees. It summarizes the chat threads as well. It does a lot of things. So the AI assistant, in theory, will take place of taking notes. I'm not sure how it will do with things like names or medical terms, but I assume it will get better and better over time. The people I've known who've used this really love it, but again, we don't have it yet. You can edit a transcript right now. If you use closed captions, you can download the transcript and edit it, but I'm not sure about the Zoom AI assistant. I'm assuming you can.
I think you can, because I saw something really briefly that said that it'll create it and then you can go back and edit it if it gets like names wrong, for example.
And so, yeah, I'm going to assume you can too. So this is going to save on taking meeting notes. I love the idea that it can do action items. I love the idea that it will capture who's in the meeting. But we'll have to see where it goes. The other element of this is there are tools already that can do this, and I've noticed that people use them sometimes. It's really important to get consent from the group before you record every single word they say. And we'll have to see how that goes. But also be aware of what you're saying in meetings because they might all be recorded by these AI tools. There's also going to be the full Microsoft Copilot suite of tools eventually. We have little bits and pieces of Copilot embedded, but not the full suite yet. What Copilot's going to do is it's going to be embedded in every one of our 365 or our Office tools. I always forget the proper term, but it'll be in Outlook, it'll be in Word, it'll be in Excel. It's going to do things like help with scheduling meetings by suggesting relevant people and times and draft agendas. It's going to, if you can't attend a meeting, it'll help you get the meeting notes afterwards with action items. It will summarize email threads and suggest actions like scheduling a meeting. There's lots of stuff that it's going to do. We just don't have all of it yet. Yes, so Otter AI is one tool that does kind of what Zoom Assistant does. It transcribes the meeting and it sends you notes. It's definitely, yeah, not perfect, but I'm assuming it will get better and better. And I don't think we're supposed to like formally use Otter AI at MD Anderson, just to let you know, but it is there. Okay, now we're going to talk about some AI tools for fun. This is an AI generated image, just to be clear. Oh, cool. You use Otter for coaching. I'm going to have some cool tools you might like here, Janice, too. Microsoft Designer. So this one, I actually, my colleague, Amy, who's in here, Amy Nanetto, I saw her use one of these images. So I was like, I got to try this out. You can use Microsoft Designer on a browser if you go incognito, because you cannot log in with an MD Anderson account. You can only log in with your personal account. You can use it on your personal computer, but I just went incognito on Chrome and I logged in with my Gmail account. It makes adorable little images that you could use for just for maybe a fun email invite or for presentations. You can generate your own image by typing in text, but they also have these cool little Mad Libs style prompts. I don't know if y'all remember Mad Libs, where you can type in, for this particular image that was created, I said I wanted, a brown bunny with big ears and a field of tulips. And it gave me several different options, but this was one of them. And they're pretty fun. So I'm going to say these are okay to use in presentations because it is a Microsoft tool and they do have disclaimers on making sure that they're not generating harmful images and that they're not using proprietary images. So they're trying to be appropriate in their use of AI. There's lots of other AI image creation tools. I think someone mentioned DALL-E is another one. I think Midjourney is another one. These are kind of the wild, wild west. Where are they pulling the content from? We don't know who owns it. So Microsoft has created this sort of safe little space for you to play around with these AI images and not infringe on copyright and not, steal anybody's tools. Yes, you can ask Copilot to generate images as well. Interesting. Okay. I haven't played with that. This I would say you definitely have to play with because it's super fun. I also wanted to mention there's a couple ways to practice your speaking skills. Of course, you can use PowerPoint, but these are two tools that will help you practice public speaking. Elsa is from Anthropic, which is just a company, and it's really designed, I think, for people who are English is not their first language. You can practice conversations. You can get feedback on your performance. This is a paid for tool. I think they have a free trial you can try. But if you really want to work on your language, this is one way to do it. Or AI, I'm not sure if that's how you say it. Again, you can practice public speaking, get feedback. There's a progress tracker on this. So these are just two new AI tools that are supposed to help you get some more feedback on your speaking. Okay. Oh, someone said Designer had a cost. Yeah, most of these have what's called a freemium version, which means you can use it for free to a point, and then they charge. And a lot of them have like a monthly, you can do so many per month. Okay, so here's some best practices with AI tools. Take notice of the new tools that are appearing already. These are popping up everywhere. First of all, it's been around a long time, so it's just sort of, it's growing daily. Be aware when you're in your regular tools, if text pops up, if images pops up, look for the AI notice and see if it is created by AI. Make sure you have institutional permission to use the tools. So that's why I'm telling you a lot of times to use your personal email address. Is the institution is still working through which tools we're going to be allowed to use. I think that these are appropriate to use in the guidelines state. You can play around with them. You can use them as long as you're careful with what you put into them. Make sure you have consent to use the tools when you're in a meeting or a class. Everyone should be aware if they're being recorded or transcribed. This is just common courtesy, human rights. We have a right to know if we're being recorded or transcribed. I believe eventually there'll be a notice that pops up at the beginning of every meeting. But something to remember is when you get a notice like that, it's not necessarily full consent. And what I mean by that is, we click accept to things a million times a day, and that it's not full consent really. So anyway, I could go on about that all day. Don't upload or share any PHI or PII with a tool. And here's some tools you can use to assess AI content on the internet. We just want you to remember to think critically and be mindful. So we know that these tools can make things up or they can hallucinate. So 2 tools you can use for yourself, or maybe if you have teens or kids or family, but really they're for all of us, is the STAR tool, which of course we've heard about with the phishing campaign. And there's also this CRABS tool. We've actually talked about this in Tool Time before. The CRABS tool is designed to make you stop and think who created this content, what it was their goal, and do they really have the expertise to be able to create the content, or are they just trying to get a reaction out of you? An example of this for you is, all of us are on social media, most of us. I found this beautiful image of a library. It was absolutely gorgeous. And I was like, oh my gosh, I've got to put this on my list of places to visit. And then I looked a little closer and I thought, this doesn't seem real. It's too perfect. No library is this perfect. And sure enough, it was an image created by AI. So that's fairly harmless. Nothing terrible would have happened. I would have Googled it and realized it wasn't a real library. But it can be, these images and this text can be dangerous if we're not aware that it's sometimes not real. So, okay, so let's see.
We have a question in the Q&A. Can we install Grammarly on our work computers?
No, we're not supposed to install Grammarly on our work computers. It's complicated, but no, we're not. I think Copilot will replace this, fully replace Grammarly eventually. Someone else asked, do these tools record our voice and use it themselves? Would we keep our rights to what's recorded by using that service? That's a really, really good question. Anytime someone said this, usually you give up some rights when you use technology. There have been scams where people have picked up the phone and talked to a spammer, and then they recorded their voice and used it. So that's something that we're going to have to navigate moving forward. I haven't heard about Free Willy. I have the movie, but not willyfreewill.com. I'll have to check it out. Okay. Yeah, so we tried, it's the Grammarly question is complicated, but they were storing data inappropriately, and that's why we don't have Grammarly. That's the simple way for me to tell you that. They were not being transparent in how they were storing their data, and they were taking things when you are using Grammarly. So that is one reason we're not allowed to use Grammarly. And I hope that we'll get the full editor Copilot suite at some point. Okay. Let me stop the recording.